Welcome to the Sleeping Barber podcast.
I don't know what's going on here, Matt. The weather just absolutely sucks. It's June 18th, and it sucks. We can't even shower either because of our water main that's broken.
Yeah, the city's running out of water. But don't worry, Stampede is going to go on.
Right? Can't miss Stampede.
Yeah, and at the same time, it is June 18th, and there's more snow forecasted for and we have a frost warning.
So why do we choose to live here again?
Yeah, right. I don't know.
Why aren't we in con with Connor just sipping on
Aperols
on yachts and stuff like that?
Yeah. We have a mountain. What's the equivalent of a mountain yacht? Just skis? Chairlift?
A chairlift.
We could hit up the mountains again.
We could. Oh, well, welcome back. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go. I was just going to say, what are we doing here today?
What are we doing? We're back for another Barber's Brief episode. If you're a new listener, we use this forum to discuss things that have caught our eye in the last couple of weeks. We highlight our marketing moment and get into an audience Q&A, and of course, finish off with Ad of the Week. Now, there's been a lot of things happening. You know, we had the European Soccer Championships kickoff just last week. Apple held their WDC, their Worldwide Developers Conference, where they announced Apple Intelligence, which is really interesting tech for iOS 18. And of course, On is happening right now and it's in full swing. And like we said earlier, Connor's there enjoying all the Aperol spritzel, blah, blah, blah. You know where I'm going with this.
I know where you're going. The orange drink with the delightful orange twist in it. Yeah, it's fantastic.
And I'm wearing the Greece 2004 jersey to commemorate 20 years after winning the European Championships. I thought I'd do that. So,
yes.
Mark, good morning.
Good morning, V. Good morning.
How's it going, man?
It's pretty good, I would say. Yeah, lots of cool things going on, and I'm excited to get into this Barber's Brief today because there's some different spin. I'm bringing an AI story back, but it was a slightly different spin because there's never enough AI.
Bring it back.
Yeah.
What do you got? Let's go.
Okay, well, let's do it. I'm just lost my story. So here's my AI story.
There it is.
Okay. Surprise. So Nvidia, you might have heard of that company.
A few times.
Yeah. So they had a 10-for-1 stock split. So there's all kinds of stuff that's happening recently. So this came from a Motley Fool investing article. But to me, it was really interesting for a whole bunch of reasons. But the stock itself is like Nvidia stock has surged 800% since the beginning of last year. So I think that means 2023.
That's like an insane turnaround, by the way.
Yeah. So in 1999, Nvidia pretty much invented the graphics processing unit, which is like a new class of processing units. So it revolutionized the gaming industry, but then it became like the de facto processing unit for AI industry. Even though AI has been around for decades, as the AI craze went, so too did Nvidia's stock. They control 92% of the data center GPU market.
Mm-hmm.
Bloomberg Intelligence is expecting a 42% CAGR over the next few years. So right now, it's worth I think it's the GPU market is worth $40 billion. And they expect that to climb to 1.3 trillion.
Oh my God.
In 10 years.
I can't even.
And it's giant numbers. Like Nvidia, I think, might be the most valuable company. It's like now in the top two. I can't remember which one exactly is the number one. It might be Microsoft or Apple.
I think Apple overtook Microsoft again.
Okay.
So Apple's number one, Microsoft number two, and Nvidia is just like hot on the heels of them both.
Yeah. So
Jesus.
To me, what's fascinating about there's a few things that are interesting about this. Innovation, yes. Nvidia is like an amazing company, well run, but they also are constantly investing in R&D. So they have $8.7 billion invested in R&D, which is about 14% of their total revenue from last year. So they're constantly trying to make things better and look for bigger, faster, stronger kind of thing.
That's amazing.
There's also, to me, like an interesting blockbuster story here. Like, remember Intel?
Yeah. Intel Inside?
Yeah. Like how, like the Kodak blockbuster story to me is like, how did Intel not get on this? I think there's kind of it speaks a little bit to like being blinded by your existing revenue streams.
Yeah.
And then the other part I think is an interesting tie-in is just the idea around demand generation, that AI has been around for a really long time, and
Yeah.
Nvidia benefited from the category explosion, not necessarily that Nvidia was creating demand. I mean, they're certainly fueling the fire and all that kind of stuff, but it wasn't because a whole bunch of demand generate marketers from Nvidia all of a sudden made this appealing and made this a thing. The industry itself and the world has like moved towards this massive computing power, and they're benefiting from it. So that was just some interesting
They're well
stuff.
positioned. Yeah, they're well positioned, man. Like I do remember back in the day, I used to build my own computers and things like that. And I would always use Nvidia graphics cards, and because of what you were talking about.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just to see them now just become like the poster child for everything AI is incredible.
Yeah. Hey, at some point we should get you to talk about GreekBerry.
Maybe some point. Maybe we'll do like a marketing moment.
Yeah.
All right. For me, there's a lot of news that is coming out of Con right now, right? And I captured a few. So Meta used Con to announce some new enhancements to their Reels features, their AI-powered solutions for businesses, and things to that effect. And the first one is their Reels ads expansion. So ads on Instagram Reels now are expanding to help businesses reach those new customers through creator content. So you really can sense they're trying to go after TikTok now more and more with all these like creator tools.
Yeah.
There's app promotion ads that are coming, music optimization in Reels, AI powered controls and verification, a whole suite of products that are aimed to help creators curate more content, make it easier for them to publish the content. And it's just really interesting because we also, well, like Nvidia, I would argue Meta had quite a resurgence as well after about, what was it, 2002, where they were kind of in dire straits, where like the whole, what was it called? Multiverse. My gosh. Their whole investment in the
mobile platform.
No. The virtual world. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. Metaverse. Thank you.
Yeah. They pivoted back to like more ad-based like R&D, and it really turned around their stock as well. So anyways, for me, it's just really interesting to see that, they're doubling down on this. They're really chasing creators again, and like they're chasing creators now as well. So it'll be interesting to see how that continues to evolve.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good one. There's a ton of stuff out of Cannes right now. Well, obviously for obvious reasons. Yeah.
We could have just done a whole Cannes like.
Well, we kind of are in a little bit, because my next story is about. This is an old article, but I picked it because it's related to Cannes. It's an article from HBR about how to kill creativity.
Perfect.
Which is more about like creativity in the workplace, not creative for ads. But I just thought it was kind of interesting. It ties into Cannes. Creativity gets killed much more often than it gets supported in the name of efficiency in a lot of offices. So this is like summary of the article. 3 of the most common ways managers kill creativity are goals frequently or failing to define them.
Okay.
You may have heard of that before. Maybe experienced something like that.
Never.
Telling people they have the freedom to find the way to solve a problem, then micromanaging the process.
Never had that happen before.
Or
0 for 2.
Work in the most creative environments ever. And then the third one was by pairing whatever employee is available with the most urgent problem that is burning a fire on the manager's desk.
Never had that happen. My goodness, this is like. Yeah.
And so the article goes on to talk about how it is more than just artistic expression. Creativity can be a novel solution, innovation, a unique decision, just, to move a business forward in a unique way. So creativity, the way they're kind of putting a formula to it, was the ability to think imaginatively, plus your expertise, plus the motivation to do it. And so ways that you can manage or enhance the creative process is by, a couple of things, combining old ideas with new possibilities. So the idea of integrative thinking we talked about with
Jennifer
Reel. So like creating a pro chart, learning to fall in love with ideas instead of, pro con.
Love that idea.
Yeah, that one's super helpful. The other one is encouraging intrinsic motivation through projects rather than like carrot and stick incentive. So like do this and you'll get a bonus, or don't do this. Even actually bonuses, weirdly enough, have a negative impact on creative outcomes. So like incentivizing, even though you think you might be doing the right thing, incentivizing a creative outcome can sometimes restrict people's creativity.
Crazy.
And then the third one is matching people with a project or a job that play to their expertise will help increase the intrinsic motivation. And it's important to think about how much you're going to stretch people, because if you give them a job that's or a project that's too big, it may overwhelm them. If it's too small and too boring, or if it's too small and not challenging enough, it'll bore them. So you got to find the right kind of chunk of a project to give to people.
Yeah, your last point there is really valid, because I think sometimes even as people leaders, any project that may come through, we'll just think about either the one that has capacity or the one that you've been able to build that innate trust in, because you know they're going to get the job done. You may not think about, well, how does it actually suit them? You're simply just prioritizing who you feel in that moment is the strongest or who has capacity, which sometimes isn't probably the ideal scenario.
Yeah. Or there's that other line, if you want something done, give it to the busiest person.
Yeah.
Like that works to a point. Eventually
it works to a point until they walk out the door and like, I'm burnt out.
Until it doesn't. Yeah.
That's so true.
Yeah.
All right, my last one here. Yeah, my last one is still around. I was at last week. I happened to be at the TikTok for You Summit in Toronto here in Canada, which was great. They launched a series of few new products to help advertisers. But just on Monday, they announced a whole slew of other advancements on their platform that we didn't get to see at Summit. So like they have generative AI avatars. And this is really interesting because they take a photo of you and then they basically create a whole bunch of different AI examples. Like I did I tested this myself actually. And you can really have like you beside a horse. You can have you in some sort of fantasy land, which is really interesting to see how they've introduced that. They're introducing an AI dubbing tool as well, which will essentially help creators and brands translate and dub content into 10 languages to achieve higher reach. Actually, this podcast, we should probably think about putting on TikTok so that we can get it in different languages. That's what we can do.
Yeah.
Custom avatars. What else? Creator control, which essentially gives the choice to license their likeness for avatars and set their terms for usage, which is really interesting. And finally, something called TikTok Symphony, which is essentially a new feature that part of TikTok's generative AI suite, offering script writing, video production, asset enhancement tools. This thing, I don't know, AI is going in a million directions really, really quick. And it is really hard to keep track of everything that's happening.
Yeah. It's funny. Well, I'm going to ask this question of you later too, but I was at a conference, did a presentation a couple of weeks ago. And somebody asked me a question, which I'll ask you, like, what would you focus on? Like, with AI changing and all that. And then my answer is kind of, I don't know if it was good or not, but my take on it was, and we've had this kind of conversation, I kind of am bored about AI. I'm bored of just talking about AI. It's already everywhere. It's already in everything we do. It's kind of like, I think it's more interesting to talk about like how it's changing what you're working on and how you're working on it than it is just to keep talking about AI. You know what I mean? Like, it's the internet. We don't talk about the internet anymore. We just talk about like the things we do. We're surfing online. We're doing research. We're doing, I was watching a video. I'm not talking about, the internet has a lot of videos. You know what I mean? Like,
I see where you're going with that. Yeah.
Maybe it's just math. Like go ahead.
We could talk about it later, but like, I think for me, what it comes down to is like, I don't think anyone anticipates such acceleration around the adoption of AI. And I think that's why it's creating conversation more than anything else.
Yeah.
So
I agree. But but that's like been a trend for like every time a new platform launches, you always see that graph that comes out. Here's how long it took to get to the first 50 million users or whatever. And it starts with print took this much. Stone tablets took this much. Then there was print, and then
Totally.
somebody created the television, and then there was telephones, and then
Yeah,
and then it's it decreases every single time. Like
I get that.
it's like the hardwiring for AI is already ubiquitous, so it will be everywhere where there's a device and an internet connection and electricity.
I think it's also scaring people too.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, and hence why, again, it's so top of mind.
Fuck. Did you, speaking of, you combining the AI part with the robotics part? Have you seen the Boston Dynamics new robot?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
It's terrifying.
It's terrifying.
Amazing.
It's terrifying. 100%.
You're right on that for sure.
Yeah. Anyways, marketing moment. You were tasked with finding a case study for us. What did you find?
I found, this is a classic. I think it's a classic. Buble.
Buble?
Yeah, the drink.
Michael Buble?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not Michael Buble on mushrooms. The drink. So I found this in the Advertising Research Foundation. ARF.
ARF.
So, I mean, Bubly's been around for 5 years, which is surprising. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Oh, Jesus.
So in 2018 or 2017 or whatever the year was, PepsiCo is the parent company. They're trying to they recognize that the sparkling water category was growing. It was growing around 20% a year. It was a $2 billion category in 2018. PepsiCo had no product in that particular area. They knew Croix was a
what's that?
French sounding brand name of sparkling water in cans.
Okay.
They were the established market leader with about 20% market share. It had kind of a sense that it lacked a bit of personality.
Okay.
And so the expected growth of the category over the next 5 years at that time was about 74%. And so they wanted to target the new consumer of the money demo. So millennials was their target. So they did a bunch of research, like customer interviews, social listening, qual message testing, Google search trend analysis, different ways to do that. They uncovered that adulting is hard. No surprise there.
Yes.
Millennials dealing with adulting want an everyday sparkling water brand that felt as fun, colorful, and playful as soda.
So okay.
Yep. And then most other brands in the category had very little personality, and Croix was positioned as a kind of fancier product than some of the other competitors in the category. And the name became, and there's lots of conversation they found about how do you pronounce Croix, and so the name became a territory. So the brand, because of the millennials dealing with adulting, wanted like a fun product.
Okay.
The brand took on as a persona of being a playful instigator role. And then they focused a lot on distinctive assets like color, media placements, and partnerships that they could have. And that part of the reason how they came up with Buble. And I think that naming of La Croix became an idea for the Buble versus Bubly idea. So they just kind of, it became their own can became fodder for conversation.
That was really creative.
Yeah. So 2019, they launched at the Super Bowl with Michael Buble convincing people how you should pronounce Bubly. Then there was a partnership with Ellen DeGeneres shortly thereafter, and they did a skit with Michael Buble, and it was pretty cool. And then they had snackable moments of video content, GIFs. They started this thing, Bubly versus Buble, and then other brands kind of picked up on it. And then they bought traditional media and placements. The packaging, all that was done really well.
Yeah, it was.
What happened is that they had a 77% increase in brand awareness among category users. Purchase consideration grew by 2 times in the 2019. So they didn't exist in 2017 for sure. 2018, they kind of started launching the product. 2019 was when they really came out.
Yeah.
They doubled retail sales in 2019.
That's crazy.
They tripled their category share. And in 2019, La Croix reportedly had a 16% drop in their third quarter earnings.
Man, just so quickly.
Yeah.
so quickly.
It's interesting to me when you come, because we've talked about Prime before, energy drink, and it's like one of those trending products that exploded, and then now it seems like
You
it's
buy it everywhere.
fading. I was asking one of my girls about that, and they're like, "No, nobody buys it anymore. There's something else." So it's interesting to me how you have these brands that can be built and sustained versus other ones that can't be. Buble is one of those ones that is like probably here to stay, I would imagine.
I agree. Yeah, I think it has the signals that it is here to stay. It's not like a Prime product that was like, scarce, got sold out, and then now Walmart. I don't know if they're buying dead stock or anything like that, but like they have a whole bunch of stock, and it's just I think it's lost a little bit. Like I've never had a Prime drink, so I can't even speak to it, but yeah, it is really. This is a great example. I'm a huge sparkling water, soda water kind of consumer.
Yeah.
I do remember when they broke out on the scene. I think what it was that caught my attention was the whole skits with Buble changing the cans. I think that's what drew my attention. That actually enticed me to try it. To be honest, because like I have SodaStream at home, and now it's become one of those things that we end up buying once in a while just to change things up, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's become kind of a mainstay in the house here as well.
Yeah, we buy the little jars of syrup.
Oh yeah,
the Buble syrup.
Yeah,
the bubbly syrup.
yeah,
Because we have the SodaStream. So
yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting seeing how they put the packaging together, and more because we're talking about packaging in the last couple of months. Like I'm like looking at all the variants that you can have, and it's really interesting.
Oh, I agree. Ella would be extremely proud of them.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Okay, I got a question for you for Q&A.
Okay.
So this is a question, so related to what we were kind of talking about before with AI.
Yeah.
So if there was such a thing as an anti-trend, what would be one thing you would double down on over the next 10 years?
My God, I wish I had time to
surprise
prep for this one. An anti-trend that I would double down over the next 10 years.
Do you want me to go and let you think about it?
Okay, go ahead.
It's up to you. You can go if you got something.
No, go.
I sprung something on you and realized you might not have time to
properly
process.
I needed to marinate a little bit. I think I have something, but go ahead.
Okay, I got one. To me, research, I think, is a really good thing to double down on. There's a lot of every case study we've ever done starts with the idea of research, and it's not sexy. It's not a trend that anybody cares about. It's one of the first things that gets cut. But like market research, customer understanding is like the centerpiece of so much good strategy. And so to me, that's like a thing I think is really important. More than all the stuff that moves fast and changes quick and all that kind of thing. Because consumer behavior doesn't really change that much over time. Like over 10 years. So like there's trends in that, like say Prime energy drinks. But I mean, people are people. So I kind of think there's to solve for some of the chaos and all the fast turn change, everything is happening faster than ever before. Like understanding customer behavior and insights, I think, is really valuable.
I like that example, actually. I wish I would have thought of that, but it's one of those ones where is research going to get disrupted with AI a little bit? Probably, because you'll be able just to simply ask a question and then you may get the answer near real time. But research is still going to be research. It's going to be the fundamental underlining foundation of any core strategy, of any marketing plan. So I think that's a great call out. I think for me, when you first said that, I don't know if it's really an anti-trend, but I think that we're really kind of dawning on a new era on creativity once again. And I think it's less about the performance side. It's more about like, how do you start really creating those connections once again with your consumers? Yeah. So while in the face of efficiency and performance, where I think a lot of marketers are constantly investing a lot of their time in, I think the anti-trend becomes like, no, let's make sure that we're just being humorous. We're creating those emotional connections with our consumers instead. and really leaning heavier on the creative side of a lot of our brand building. I don't know if that's really an anti-trend because I feel like that's already happening, but I think it's just important that we don't lose sight of that.
Yeah, I think that's an important trend, I would say. Because the opposite side of that would be to not focus on creative, which is kind of where we've been before.
We've been.
Yeah. And focus on, say, media, as if, if you said in an ad format, there's media and creative. I think media could be the opposite end of that spectrum of creative.
Yeah.
So
that's
a good one.
My mind. I think we got two good ones.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay. Pete, the week.
Here it is. Well, it's the Euros, so there's no reason why we shouldn't be highlighting an ad from the Euros. And I think we've talked about Paddy Power in the past again.
Yeah.
I don't remember when or where, but they just released another, and it's a good one. Danny Dyer and Peter Crouch. I don't know if you know Danny Dyer, but he's an English actor and presenter. He brings his Cockney charm. Once you see the ad, you can really pick it up, to this ad capturing essentially the nation's excitement for the tournament with a humorous twist. A lot of British humor in there as well. The commercial playfully pokes fun at British quirks, featuring diverse characters from deliver sarcastic compliments to the English, from Italians mockingly admiring the English fashion, while the Germans grumbling about like World Cup chants, and even Dyer himself portraying the quintessential English dad abroad. The ad is so witty. It celebrates really I think it actually captures like English culture really, really well in this short clip. I thought it was really well done. Hats off to, actually, I should have looked at who actually produced and created this, but I just thought it was a really great ad.
Yeah. I actually haven't seen it yet. The noise in the background was I was trying to
was you just playing it?
Yeah, trying to mute it before I could actually. Yeah, it's fun. It's funny. Like, I'm not a soccer guy or football guy.
Football. There you go.
I appreciate it. Like, especially I watch it during World Cup and that kind of stuff. But
yeah.
I mean, I totally appreciate the cultural moment that this represents and how
it's crazy.
Piggyback off of that from a branding point of view, because everybody's attention is turned towards it. It's a good moment for sure to create something cool.
Yeah,
it makes tons of sense. Yeah,
there's a couple lines in there where it's like, I don't know if it's in Italian, but they're basically calling out the English who haven't won major tournament in I don't even know how many years it's been. It's like these people that are rooting for the team, they weren't even born the last time they won anything, right? So it's like it's playful, like banter going back and forth, and I thought it was just really well done. It really captures the moment, I think, really well.
Yeah.
What do we have coming up next week? I'm excited about this one. But
me
what
too.
Do we got?
Well, we got Andrew Tyndall from System 1 going to be on, and where he was on, and we were talking about creative effectiveness and a whole bunch of things around creative and the impact that it can have. And it was a really awesome conversation to have him on.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah, I'm really excited to air that next week.
Yeah, and he's currently I think he's in Cannes. Yeah. What did we say it was called? Cannes.
I think you did.
Can.
You did this.
Yeah,
it's Cannes.
Okay, I'm going to stop doing that. Cannes. Like, can.
You can do this, Mark.
I can do this. Anyway, he's currently there, and he's speaking on creative effectiveness, and so similar kind of topic. So this is a really timely conversation.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for that. He was a great guest. Yeah, can't wait for that there.
Yeah,
and with that,
let's go chase some profitability. I would say, V.
Well, if you have nothing else to do, that's what you should be doing.
We might as well. Yes. I mean, I think that's
we're here, aren't we?
That's a good plan. Yeah. Let's put that at the top. I'm going to make a note about that.
Put it on a sticky.
Yeah.
All right, my friend.
All right. Until next time.
Have a great day.
Take it easy.
Yeah, man. You
Ciao.
too. Bye.